on our website at a later time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So my name is Veronica Marin, and I will be your moderator today. I work for the Office of Undergraduate Admissions here at the University of Maryland. So excited to have you all here. But I'm going to go ahead and have our student panelists introduce themselves, just say their name, their year, hometown, and their major. And we're going to go ahead and get started with Alexis.
Hi, my name is Alexis Moses. I am a senior marketing major with a minor in Spanish, focused in business, and I'm from Silver Spring, Maryland.
Hi, my name is Rodina Goat. I'm a junior. I'm an economics major with a minor in global poverty, and I'm from Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Hi, my name is Irsa Gonzalez. I'm from Silver Spring, Maryland. I'm a senior studying cell biology and molecular genetics.
Hi, my name is Carlos. I'm a senior studying psychology and Spanish, and I'm from Silver Spring, Maryland.
Hi, my name is Zori. I'm a junior communications and government and politics double major from Mulligan Hill, New Jersey.
Hi, my name is Borja. I'm a junior broadcast journalism major, and I'm from Bronxville, New York.
Hi, my name's Amelia. I'm a junior psychology major, and I'm originally from Venezuela, but I grew up in Bethesda, Maryland.
All right, great. Well, welcome. We're so happy to have you all here. And for those who have just joined us, again, welcome to the Office of Undergraduate Admissions Virtual Student Experience panel. We just introduced our 7 amazing students here today who are so excited to share what it's like to be a Terp. So as a reminder, we have disabled the chat feature during this event, but we do invite you to ask questions using the Q&A feature, and we are recording this event and will be available online at a later time. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first question. Why did you all choose to come to the University of Maryland?
Hi, so as I said earlier, my name is Zori Firon, and when deciding where I wanted to go to college, I thought about a couple different factors. One was that when I went into school, I knew I wanted to major in government and politics, and I wanted to be somewhere near the District of Columbia. And so when I toured the campus, I saw all the opportunities that I had to be able to make connections for internships and jobs in the future and the close proximity to DC, as well as the pride that the students have for the university. And that's what made my decision.
For me, I think it came down to 3 factors. The first was location. I wanted to go somewhere near a major city because I really wanted to enjoy the different internship opportunities just throughout my college career. The second was the size. I really like Maryland's size. They always say that you can make a big school small, but you can never make a small school big. And that's certainly true at Maryland. And the third would be diversity. Just walking around Maryland's campus when I was on a tour, I just fell in love and I could easily see myself there. And then when it came time to commit to a school, I picked Maryland just because of those 3 reasons, and I've never looked back.
At least for me, when it came to choosing a school, I knew I wanted to go to a bigger university. So I was mainly looking at big schools, but when it came to Maryland, I knew it was a big school, but it was still close to a city like DC, like people have mentioned. But you still got to have that campus environment where you felt like you were in a college campus that was kind of its own little world while still being close to a major city. And I also really liked the community aspect of Maryland. It felt like since the campus was its own kind of little community, you felt that you were in it together with the people who were there, and it felt like it had a community of a university in it.
I definitely agree with what the past panelists have said. I think something to add to that is also just how much hands-on research opportunity you get to have. As a psychology major, I've been able to work in several different psych labs, and that's very unique, especially at an undergraduate level. So being able to really be hands-on already within my field is a huge aspect of why I decided to come.
For me, I would definitely agree with what the previous panelists have said wholeheartedly, but also for the program that I was accepted into, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do within business, but I was accepted into the Smith School of Business, and I did a lot of prior research as to what institutions would offer me a really good program, and I knew that Maryland had a really rigorous program that was really going to challenge me and make me a better businesswoman. And so that was really a really big factor that drew me to Maryland.
Yep. So my reason is actually pretty similar to what Borja said. I really wanted that trio of a big university near a big college town, but at the same time having like student groups and organizations to kind of make it feel more like home. And that's why I chose Maryland.
I chose Maryland because it's close to home, and I also have to agree with Amelia that it was the research opportunities that brought me over to Maryland. I'm currently doing research in a lab right now.
Right, that's great. Really awesome answers. So happy that you all, just from different places that you're coming from, you found a place here at the University of Maryland. So happy to have you here. So next question is, what extracurricular activities are you involved in? So that means clubs, student organization, even sports that you are active in on campus?
Yeah, so I'm involved in a couple different organizations on campus, and it's pretty easy, I would say, to join different organizations on campus because there's an abundance. But for me personally, the two organizations that I spend the most time on, the first one is the Student Success Leadership Council. And that is an organization that works to advance minority students professionally. So we put on different professional events like networking events or getting our minority students in front of different recruiters of different organizations and corporations. And the second big organization that I'm a part of is a professional business fraternity through the Smith Business School called Delta Sigma Pi. So those are the two biggest organizations that I spend the majority of my time with here on campus.
As for me, I am a tour guide within Maryland Images, which is like the group that gives tours to prospective college students. Besides that, I'm a Lakeland Stars tutor, which is a tutoring program at a local elementary school that I do through my scholars program. And I'm also a referee for intramural sports. Generally, most people will find places to get involved through things like the First Look Fair, just hearing around it on campus. I personally found out about all these things through people that I knew. So to become a tour guide, I heard about that through my RA, my freshman year. For Lakeland Stars tutoring, I had someone come to one of my classes and speak on that. And then to become a referee, I just had a friend tell me about it, that he was going to do it. And that's how I heard about it. So it's really just about getting the word out. Like, people you know will really tell you about what there is to do on campus.
Yeah, so on campus, I'm also a tour guide, which is very exciting. I'm also a research assistant in a psychology lab, and I'm also part of Greek Life. And I think what's great is that when joining these different activities, you get to really tap into different communities that are on campus already. And I think that's really great because you really can diversify your group of people and your connections. And in terms of how to keep organized and managing your time, you're probably going to hear this a lot when going on tours or through virtual events like this. But Google Calendar definitely helps a lot. Just being able to make sure you map everything out. And obviously school is your priority, but also having time as to what you want to do socially and professionally.
Yep. So for me, I'm also part of Maryland Images, which is the on-campus tour guide organization. I'm also involved in the FLOAT program, which stands for Financial Literacy Outreach and Training. So we go to local middle schools in the College Park area, and we give them lesson plans on taxes and accounting and stuff like that. That's a whole lot of fun. And like Borja mentioned earlier, I actually learned through most of those programs through my RA too, which is resident assistant on each of our residence hall floors. And they're just a really great resource because they've already been at the university for a period of time, and they really helped you get introduced to Maryland.
Yeah, so for me, my biggest extracurricular activity is that I am an RA, or a resident assistant, which has been really fun just because you really get to build a community on your floor and really create that home away from home for like all the students that live there. On top of that, I also am a tour guide. I'm also involved with Terpthon, which is a year-long fundraiser raising money for the Children's Miracle Network in DC. And on top of that, I've also been very involved with education abroad. I've actually studied abroad 3 times in Spain, Cuba, and Argentina.
So as many of the panelists have already mentioned, I'm also involved in our tour guide organization here on campus. Additionally, I'm involved in Ignite, which is a program, or excuse me, a club that tries to get women more involved in politics. And then I'm also involved in the Collegiate Financial Management Association, which focuses on helping students prepare financially.
Awesome. So much different experience here. That's so exciting. So I'm going to direct this question to Amelia. How does a student get involved on campus?
Yeah, so with getting involved on campus, as many of the other panelists have said, through word of mouth is very popular, through just having friends come up to you and being like, hey, I know you're interested in this, maybe considering joining these organizations. Also, we have the First Look Fair in the fall, which is a giant fair where over 900 plus clubs and organizations have tables, and they're kind of just doing boothing, hoping that people and especially like lower classmen will join, especially for freshmen. And also online on our website for STAMP, which is our student union, we have a catalog of all the organizations that the university has. So if there's one that you particularly were really looking for, you can go on there and already get in touch with that club or organization.
Great, thank you so much. And being that you are also involved, I'm going to direct this question to Zuri. So how do you just keep organized and manage your time with all these extra commitments and between school and leadership opportunities and classwork? How do you kind of stay afloat and balance everything?
So I'm going to refer back to Amelia's point earlier. Google Calendar and having a physical agenda are so important. It helps to separate things if you want to make sure your classes and your events for clubs are different in different colors for Google Calendar. And then if you want to separate your class schedule in terms of assignments and things like that with other social events or organizations events, that has been helpful for me. But that's something that I always try to keep track of. I also have a calendar in my room in my apartment on campus, and that changes weekly. So I have a reminder of everything that's going on.
That's amazing. So impressive, all of you. So going into academics, what has been your favorite course that you've taken so far?
So I'm an economics major. So one of my favorite courses is actually one I'm in right now. So it's called Econ 417. It stands for Program Impact and Evaluation. So we look at various programs and we just evaluate them over a long-term basis to see what their impacts are. So right now we're looking at how the course schedules of middle schoolers can affect the grades they get. So for example, if they have math earlier in the day or later in the day, after lunch, before lunch, how that can impact their learning. And it's just been super interesting. My professors have been really engaging.
Yeah, I think my favorite course so far has been my Psychology of Relationships class. No matter what situation you find yourself personally or professionally, you're always going to be interacting with other people, and knowing good ways of being able to deal with conflict and just to be able to communicate with other people is super important. And I think I'm really one of those people who loves to be able to take things I learned from the classroom and immediately apply it. So I definitely found myself within the semester using some of the problem-solving tools that I learned, especially with any problems I've had with roommates or my friends. And I feel like it has made me a much better person in terms of how I communicate with others.
My favorite course so far was my personal and community health class, which I took as a general education course. We did a service project where we wrote letters and packed backpacks for foster kids that were currently in the system. And I feel like that experience not only had a great impact on me, but on those youth that were receiving the letters and the packs. So it was one of my favorite courses.
My favorite course would probably have to be Introduction to Basic Helping Skills. As a psych major, it's a really fun class because you get a lot of hands-on experience with different like therapeutic practices and learning how to deal with clients and learning how to really kind of help them out through tough situations. And it's really nice because you get to practice in class using like the other classmates you have, and it just really becomes a really fun class, and it was something I look forward to every single week.
So as I said earlier, I'm a double major, and within my communications major, there's 4 different tracks. So I'm on the rhetoric and political culture track, and one of our required classes is ancient rhetorical theory. I wasn't necessarily sure how much I was going to like it with the subject matter, but I really, truly enjoyed how we could connect the different rhetorical analyses that we were doing in class to real life situations. And my professor always made sure he gave us some type of real life situation within our understanding of a new theory. And so that was very interesting to me.
My favorite course I've taken was also a general education class. It was TLPL 200, which is Introduction to Teaching as a Career, where for the first half of the semester, we developed curriculum for an after-school program at a local elementary school, and we wrote out lesson plans and developed how we were going to run it. And then for the second half of the semester, we actually got to go to the elementary school and run the after-school program once a week with the kids there. And it was a very small class. There was only 6 of us, and it was very enjoyable to work with the other students in the class because it didn't feel like you were just working by yourself. And it's my favorite gen ed I've taken and probably my favorite class I've taken.
For me, my favorite class, I would have to say, was called Consumer Analysis. I took it last year, and it is an upper-level marketing course. I'm a marketing major, like I mentioned earlier. And I would say that it's my favorite because it really went through the psychology behind a consumer, and more so understanding why the consumer buys why they want, what they need. And it was really applicable because we learned about techniques that were real life, that companies were actually utilizing today. And I thought it was so interesting and impactful. And I actually was able to use what I learned and the techniques I learned in that class and use it for my internship that I actually had over the summer after that semester. So not only was it just genuinely an interesting course to take and my professor was really engaging, it was incredibly useful, and it was perfect timing for me to use that as a foundation for my actual internship. So it was a great course and really great timing.
Awesome. So talking about courses and creating pathways to internships and different opportunities and research, that's really amazing. So how, being that the University of Maryland is a larger institution, I'm going to direct this question to Borja. How have you actually fostered those relationships with your professors, given our size?
I think office hours is a very big way to use that. Office hours is pretty much a time where professors are in their office for 2 hours every few days where they can't be doing anything else besides waiting for students to come in and ask them questions. And I've used that really at the beginning of the semester to just get to know my professor, even if I don't have a question. If it's a really big class or really big lecture, you can go in and just introduce yourself so they kind of know who you are. Usually that'll lead to a conversation. They find out a little bit more about you. And then even if you don't go back to office hours again for the rest of the semester, that relationship is already there and it can help you out in that class and also outside of that, because a lot of the best relationships I've had with my professors have continued on after the class was over in the semesters to come.
Great, thank you so much. And then I'm going to open this up to anyone who can speak to maybe pre-med and more in depth into research opportunities, anything that you have found useful in courses or just experiences that you want to highlight.
Yeah, I can talk briefly about the pre-med program. So it's not a major like at other institutions. Instead, it's a program. So you're going to have the major that you pick to study, and then you're going to have the recommended courses that would get you into medical schools. So you could be something like a biology major where you're going to have a lot of overlap with those courses. You can also be an English or psychology major or an economics major. It does not matter. That's up to you. And I think that's really great about that program because you can kind of go through those two different streams and find a way of bringing them together. And in terms of research, I think there's a lot of blogs. I know the behavioral and social sciences school has a blog, as well as just talking to professors and asking them if they're looking for undergraduate students to work in their labs. They're always really excited to have people joining them and helping them out.
All right, thank you so much. So we're going to go ahead and move to the next question. What are some academic challenges that you've experienced, and how have you overcome them?
I think the biggest academic challenge for me was to change my style of writing between classes, especially in terms of citations. As a psych major, you have to learn the APA, but throughout high school, you mostly only used MLA. And then I took different biology classes, so you're using AMA, you're switching between these styles a lot. And I think that definitely for me, that was the part that was the most confusing. In terms of how to overcome them, always feel free to talk to your graduate assistants who are working in your class or your professor. They're always willing to help you out, especially if you're changing throughout these classes so much. So I think really just fostering a relationship with your professors and the graduate students makes the entire process so much easier.
Yeah, for me, in the Smith School of Business, it's a very holistic educational process where you take classes in all the different specialties. So coming in, I was a marketing major. I'm more of a creative and more of a communicative person, more hands-on. So coming into a finance or accounting class was pretty challenging for me. I had never really experienced a course level to that high, and in terms of mathematical in that way, and it's not my strength, I would say, and I acknowledge that going into it. So I really had to pay extra attention in all of my classes. That's the first thing. And I would say the second thing was really taking advantage of those office hours that Amelia mentioned, those TA office hours, your professor's office hours. They're so vital. I was in office hours when I took Accounting 1 every single office hour that was available because it was a challenge for me, and that was something that I knew going into it, and I knew that I needed to take that extra time to really study that material much harder than I did for maybe my marketing classes, my lower level marketing classes. So that's really what taking advantage of those TAs and those office hours.
Yeah, I think for me, one of my biggest challenges was learning how to effectively study. A lot of classes are very big on critical thinking, and it's more than just memorization. And I really had to kind of learn the hard way that it's going to take more than just memorizing some words to really excel in my classes. But like we mentioned before, really taking advantage of your TAs and your professor's office hours is really vital. It really does help out. It makes a huge difference between exams.
Great, thank you. So we're actually about to launch a poll for all of our participants to take. We just want to get a general sense of your intention of living on or off campus. So we're going to launch that now, and feel free to participate as this will lead to one of our upcoming questions. So next question for our panelists. What are some of your favorite study spots on campus?
So for me, I think the new computer science building is probably one of my favorite places to study on campus. It's really designed to be a lot like what tech companies kind of format their offices like, so I really like that. I'm also never in that building just on a regular day because all my classes are psychology or Spanish. So that's a really nice, fun place to be at, and it's a really nice building just in general.
For me, I would say that my number one study spot is in the business school, Van Munching Hall. It's really pretty. It has really high ceilings, and the couches are really comfortable in there. And I like to be comfortable when I study. Everybody has a very different way they like to study, and I'm more of a comfort studier. So I can really find a niche in Smith in Van Munching where I can, put some headphones in and really relax and study what I need to know. So I really love Van Munching.
For me, it's definitely this one room we have in STAM Student Union. So that's kind of like in the center of our campus, and we have this amazing long hallway, and it has a vertical garden running alongside the wall. And for me, I don't know, it just relaxes me if I'm really stressed about a test, where I can just look over and look at some plants and stuff. And that's definitely one of my favorite places on campus to go to.
I really, really like to study in the Edward St. John building because I usually need some ambient noise in order to focus. Also, there is a cafe where I can buy snacks and Starbucks drinks, so it's just an awesome place to be.
My favorite, like, kind of hidden study spot is the architecture building library. It's a lot smaller than other libraries, but it's very cozy and nice. Very comfortable couches. It has a nice big window. It's usually not crowded, and it is kind of still in the center of campus, but not many people know about it. So I've gotten a lot of homework done there.
My favorite study spot is the Clarice Smith Performing Arts Library because it's so quiet in there. And it's kind of like a secret nook, like Borja just said, because it's on the northern part of campus where more of the freshmen are, but usually most of the freshmen go to our bigger libraries. And so it's always a really good place to go, like write an essay or do a project as well.
I'd say that my favorite study spot on campus is Hornbeck Library, which is one of our larger libraries on campus. If you go into the basement, you can actually like study within a lecture hall, which is super fun, and you can actually use the chalkboard and all of that. So it feels very old school, but for me, I like to hand write a lot of my notes, so it helps that I have a giant chalkboard rather than using up like thousands of pieces of paper.
These are really awesome tips. And for those who are have confirmed their enrollment to the University of Maryland, these are some great spots. I'm sure that all of our panelists will be happy to share those spaces with you as they're their favorites. And I know it is of many of our students. So thank you all for participating in our poll. So the question was, again, what your intention is in terms of living on or off campus, or if you don't know, that's okay. And the majority of you actually intend to live on campus, which is really great. But for those who are interested, if I can have my panelists raise your hand if you commute to campus right now. All right, awesome. So for Irsa and Alexis, this question is for you. As a student who commutes to campus, do you have any insightful tips or tricks that you can share?
So every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of every month, the Transfer and Off-Campus Student Life Office holds a commuter breakfast. So it's something I always look forward to because I love breakfast food and they have awesome muffins.
For me, I would say have a good podcast or playlist in the car for sure. If you like to eat your morning snacks on the go, I would definitely do that as well. That always helps me with my commute. I'm not the best at waking up in the morning. I'm not a morning person, so I'll just say it. And I'm always running out of the door. So I tend to maybe pop a few snacks in the car before, or on Sunday nights, I'll pop in like granola bars or Cliff bars in the car so that I always have something in the car to grab with me while I'm on the go. So that really helps cut down my travel time.
Yeah, thank you. I've definitely seen Alexis with her coffee coming in. And thank you, Irsa, for sharing that event. I know a lot of our students, who, especially if you commute to campus, take advantage of those first Wednesday of the month events at our SAMP Student Union, which is really great and welcoming for all those who commute. And then the rest of you either live on campus or right off campus, but quick walk to campus. If you can share a highlight of just living on campus.
So I lived on campus for 4 years, and without a doubt, I think the community that living on campus brings is my favorite part about it. I've met really amazing friends, and I'm really close with a lot of them. And just like over the years, really just being close, like that close in proximity with your friends is really awesome. They're always down to go to the diner. They're always down to go study with you. And yeah, it's just a really great community living on campus.
Yep, I can definitely affirm that. I think like proximity definitely helps like build a lot of friendships. So for me, I know one of my favorite parts is whenever I go back to my apartment or room and I talk to all my roommates about how my day went and like something cool that happened in our classes. So it is a really great experience to live on campus.
I want to echo what both Carlos and Rita said. Just being able to have that community by living in close proximity is great. And then also I want to highlight a specific experience. So my freshman year, I lived in Denton, which is a residence hall on our campus. And one of our floor mates was in my residence hall room with my roommate and I, and she pointed out that we actually could see the top of the Capitol building, the Washington Monument, from our residence hall, and it was really cool because I didn't notice it. So if you live in Denton Hall and you live on the 7th floor your freshman year, look out for the Washington Monument.
I think on top of what everyone's mentioned about the community that living on campus provides, it's also very convenient to be close to everything that's going on campus. So obviously that means like your classes, your walk is going to be a lot closer, but just in general, anything that's happening in the general campus area or campus community, it's always a walk. So you can have your friends there, and you can also always go to any campus event or thing that's happening at Maryland. There's always something going on, and you always feel like you're in the middle of it.
I definitely agree. I think a perk of living on campus is I'm also not a morning person. So there's nothing better than rolling out of bed like 10 minutes before class and having to walk like across the street to get to your lecture hall. Also, it's really nice that you also get to see your professors on campus outside of class a lot. I mean, it's nice to see them in a bit more of a casual setting. I've definitely found myself in the same cafe as a professor and actually sat at the table and been able to talk to them. So I think interactions like that also make it very nice to live on campus.
Wow, so many different experiences, really great. I think anyone who might be living in Denton is going to be very fortunate to have such a nice view, as well as that you mentioned, Zuri. So thank you for sharing. So next question is going back to academics. Have any of you taken advantage of any academic or health resources available to students on campus?
I have. So my freshman year, I had to take Statistics 100, and I, as many people said before me, am not a math person at all. And so they have a program. The name of it is blanking me right now, but if you go to their website, you can see for the introductory math classes where you can go to a tutor and have someone that's there specifically for you. And sometimes they put you in group settings so you can collaborate with other people from your class. And that was a really, really great resource that I used throughout my time in my statistics class because the material was a little bit harder for me to understand.
I can definitely talk about some health resources on campus. So when I was an incoming freshman, about a month before college started, I actually ended up tearing the ACL in my right knee. So I was on crutches, but Maryland was really great, and I actually got to take a bus to all my classes. And on top of that, inside of our student health center, we actually have a full-size physical therapy center. So I was able to do physical therapy in between and after my classes, and I was just able to get back on my feet while at the same time still attending classes and still having that full college experience.
For academic resources, one that I have used and I use a lot still is the guided study sessions, which are provided for specific courses like organic chemistry, math, biology courses, and they really help to supplement my studies. Yeah.
For me, an academic resource that I utilize a lot over the years has been the Writing Center. They are awesome. They will sit with you and go through whatever writing material you have to bring. And I really like it because it doesn't feel like it's somebody's editing your paper. It feels like you and another student or a peer are editing your paper together to create a better paper or a better final product. So it's very comfortable and it's very helpful and useful, and they will do literally any paper if you sign up or walk in. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to add on to what Zori said. So that program is called the Academic Achievement Program, and I used to be a tutor for them actually for a statistics class, ironically. But aside from tutoring resources and stuff, so like I mentioned before, I'm a resident assistant, and I love to host a lot of academic related events for my residents. So things that involves, I've done like resume workshops with them through the Career Center. We've had also like different tutoring people come in and really just kind of make a nice environment where I can really promote my residents like academic success throughout the like year.
For me, my academic advisor has really been my lifesaver throughout my time at Maryland. Your academic advisor is the person that's assigned to you through your major that helps you sign up for all your classes each semester. But really, I try to go for them literally for anything. They're super helpful in just kind of organizing your college plan, your career plan, what classes you want to take, what you plan on doing, and just speaking on how your semester going and everything. Now, as a junior, I think that I could sign up for classes on my own and I know what I'm doing, but I still always make an appointment for them because it always just makes me feel better to kind of just talk it out with my academic advisor, and I always go to the same one since my freshman year.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what everyone said. I was lucky, or some might say unlucky enough, to have to take organic chemistry. And what was really great is that the entire chemistry department offered a online tutoring session about twice a week. So that was really great, especially if you're not maybe as comfortable with going in and actually asking questions in person, or if it was just something super quick and you're already in your residence hall and you don't want to go back onto campus or like go to a different building. And I thought that was really great that they found a way of doing it virtually, and it was super, super useful. So if you're taking organic chemistry, I definitely recommend asking your questions because no question is a dumb question.
All right, thank you all for sharing. These are amazing resources, and so excited to see that you really are maximizing and utilizing them on our campus during your time here at Maryland. So I'm actually going to take a question from the Q&A here, and I do invite all of our participants to start submitting any questions. We're going to start our Q&A in just a couple of minutes, so any questions that you have now, please start submitting them. We'll do our best to answer them during this time, but one of the questions is in terms of advice, but reflecting back to your freshman year, to your first year, is there anything that you would have done differently?
So I'm a bit of a non-traditional student in that my first year at UMD was not actually my first year of college. I actually transferred from a community college, but reflecting back on my first year at UMD, I probably would have taken more advantage of events that were going around on campus, like the First Look Fair and Maryland Day, which I've never been to.
Yeah, for me, just like looking back to my freshman year, I definitely wish I had like kind of like expanded my boundaries and kind of like gone outside of my comfort zone. I know when I came into college, I started doing the same clubs and organizations that I did in high school, which was great, but I never would have imagined myself being a tour guide or even teaching middle schoolers as a freshman, but now I'm really glad that I tried those things and I have really grown to love them.
I actually have a bit of opposite advice. I think freshman year, I kind of came in and tried to do everything and never left any time just for myself. I think it's definitely important that you have time to continue hobbies that you were already interested in high school and earlier, and have just time to really like reflect on yourself and how you're feeling, make sure you're keeping like good mental health. So I think checking in regularly with yourself is super important.
For me, something that I would have done differently would be going with my friends to their different clubs and events. Because my freshman year, like Rita, I came in doing the same type of clubs and organizations that I did in high school. And I think I missed out a little bit on some opportunities to expand that. So I definitely recommend, if you make friends your freshman year, or when you make friends your freshman year on your residence floor, you can go with them to different events.
I think for me, I would have taken more advantage of like the events that my RA would put on throughout the year. She was really good about hosting like multiple events, like even in like a single week. And I kind of feel like I missed out on really getting to become close with my floor. So yeah, definitely if I can go back, I would definitely capitalize on those opportunities.
I definitely agree with what some of the fellow panelists have said, but I would definitely like to agree with Amelia on the point that coming into school, I kind of signed up for anything. I specifically remember at First Look Fair, and I signed up for literally everything. I got emails the next day, and I didn't even know what some of them were, honestly, and I was not really in my room at all. I was going to different events and going to study at the library or doing a lot of things. So I would say I tend to spread myself thin too much, and that's where that kind of faulted me my freshman year. So I would definitely say be more mindful as to what you involve yourself in, be more intentional as to what you're involving yourself in, and then that will pay off a lot more at the end.
And for myself, this is kind of similar to what other people have said, but I wish I would have come into college with a bit of more of an open mind for what I wanted college to be. I felt like I came in my freshman year thinking like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to want to study. This is things I want to be involved in. These are the people I want to be friends with. And I kind of had an idea set of what I wanted college to be for me for the next 4 years. And I wish I would have just come in more with an open mind of allowing myself to just figure it out and not necessarily expecting something of it, because then you might end up disappointed. You might end up being changing what you think about it, which of course is perfectly all right. But I wish I kind of would have just come in with no real expectation of what I wanted to be doing.
Oh, thank you all for sharing. This is really great advice. And I know all of our participants, especially prospective and admitted students, greatly appreciate it. So one final question before I switch to Q&A is I invite our panelists to just share one piece of advice for a future Terp that you have.
I can go first. So I know I'm an out-of-state student, so when I came in, I was worried about making friends. So the one piece of advice I would give is don't be worried at all, because everyone comes to college and they do want to be friends. So definitely reach out to people on your floor, whether that's just like going to the dining hall, getting something to eat, going to a sporting event, or just trying out a new club. Definitely don't be afraid, because Maryland is a very friendly campus.
Yeah, so for me, although I was kind of signing up for different things, I was pretty shy going into it. Even though I was there, sometimes I was kind of like a wallflower. And so I would definitely say to don't be afraid to speak up and to talk to different people. You're definitely going to meet a lot of different people that aren't like you when you come into school. So just be open to meeting and talking to different people and learning about their experiences for sure. And be open with yourself and be open to share who you are with other people, because everybody wants to learn about different people. So that would be what I would say.
One piece of advice I have is to really take your time and explore the campus. Campus is huge. There's a lot of different buildings, and it's really great to be able to find a place where you can be at peace, reflect over your week, and really take some time to, do some self-care, which I really recommend.
Yeah, I think a piece of advice I have is to try to not be too hard on yourself, especially as a freshman or first year. It's very easy to kind of be upset if you maybe don't do the best on an exam or have issues with your friends. But remember, everyone's kind of in that same place, and it's really important that if you feel like you are struggling, ask for help. We have tons of resources on campus, and it's just about finding people that you feel comfortable with talking to, and they can give you guidance on things you can do differently.
I think my biggest piece of advice would be to be open-minded about anything. I feel like there are a lot of opportunities that I would have missed out if I didn't just have an open mind and just decide to give it a chance. I would have never been an RA or a tour guide to begin with, because I was really shy, but I thought, it's something new, something to try out. And I ended up meeting really great people from it and became really close friends with a lot of people just through those organizations.
I would recommend that you all aim high. You got into the university, do not sell yourself short. If you're considering applying for a position within an organization, do it, because the worst thing that can happen is that you just gain experience and you can learn from it. So definitely aim high coming in.
And I would say, like others have said, not only have an open mind, but keep that open mind throughout your time here at college. Don't try to kind of define what your time as college is going to be after that first semester of your freshman year, your first semester here. Kind of always keep an open mind, always keep trying new things, even if it might be your second or third year here. Always just be looking to do not necessarily more, but just try out different things. Don't kind of try to define yourself after one semester and say, like, this is what college is going to be for me.
All right. Really great advice. Thank you all so much. So we're actually going to switch now to Q&A. So we're going to go ahead and answer some of the attendees' questions live. So please keep submitting those questions. We'll do our best to get through as many as possible. So first one, I'm going to ask this to Amelia. We had a question about the honors program. What has been your experience with the honors program?
Yeah, I think the honors program is really great on campus. What's great about it is that you can take honors level courses. So you could take an honors level English class, and you can also take honors seminars. And I think the honors seminars are really the unique part. These are classes that are typically more taught by graduate professors at the university, and they go into more specific topics. I took a class about dystopia and what that was like in our modern world, both politically and fictionally. And I think these moments is when you're really going to build up your network, but also get to explore topics that maybe you had an interest in but weren't part of your major.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. And we had a couple questions from our attendees about the FIRE program and Freshman Connection. And Carlos, you've actually done both. So can you share a little bit about both FIRE and Freshman Connection?
Sure. So I'll start with FIRE. So FIRE is the first year innovation and research experience program. I really enjoyed it. It's a 3-semester program. The first semester, you kind of get an introduction to what research is in a college setting, and how you can apply that to just your everyday life outside of college. At the end of the semester, you get to pick a different stream. They've added so many streams since I was in my first year. The stream that I picked was the animal and human relationship stream, which looked at stress in both animal and human models. And I was able to go into the human lab, which is really nice. I was able to get hands-on lab experience and research experience my second semester freshman year, which if you're in the program, you'll notice that not a lot of first year students have that opportunity. A lot of the times it's more so upperclassmen that get involved in research. And you really kind of work with the people in your stream for the entire year on some kind of research project related to that lab. So it's a really great way to start getting involved in research. And ever since then, I've worked in a variety of different labs on campus as well. As far as Freshman Connection goes, so I really enjoyed Freshman Connection. Basically, all your classes are a little later than everyone else's. They're starting from 3 p.m. onwards, which I actually really enjoyed. I got to sleep in a little bit. I got to kind of adjust myself to college a little more. All the class sizes are super small. So like my largest class that semester was like 30 or so people. And then you are also kind of getting to be in class with the same people, which is nice. You start to kind of have like that little like built-in community. You're also taking part in a university introduction to the university class, which is another really fun part about it, because it really does help you kind of get ready for college, and really is a great way to just start your career off in college. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was able to really network with a lot of professors that semester, and it's had impacts to even today.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. So I'm actually going to ask a question to Zuri. So Vivian, thank you so much for submitting this question for Zuri. She says that she is a government and politics major too. So she wanted to know what were some of your classes like during your freshman year, and maybe some of the internships you're looking into or have already had, or any research you have done.
Yeah, so I came in communications and I added on government and politics within my first semester. So within doing that, some of the classes I took were introductory level, but as I've gone in throughout the major, I've seen more specific things. So like last semester, I was able to take a class on elections and electoral behavior, and that gave me real practical understanding of experiences. And my professor for that was actually a former campaign manager. And so that was cool because he also connected us to resources of possible internships within campaigns. So it's a really good way to get to know your professors by like going to their office hours, like we said earlier, in order for you to possibly find an internship after that. But you also can find internship opportunities through the Career Center, and they can connect you to different resources that will help you within your specific focus. So I personally haven't had an internship on the Hill or in DC because I just personally don't want to go into politics, but many of my classmates have, and they've found those opportunities through connecting to professors and also to the Career Center. So when you come on campus next semester, I would highly recommend doing both of those things.
Great, thank you so much. And Vivian, thank you so much for submitting that question. So we're getting a lot of questions about how do you become a tour guide? Many of you on here, the majority of you on here are actually currently our tour guides, being a part of Maryland Images, which is our official campus tour guide organization. So Zuri is actually our social and recruitment student coordinator, being a part of leadership in Maryland Images. So can you speak a little bit about how do you become a tour guide?
Yes, so thank you all for being interested in that. That's so great. So what you can do when you come on campus next semester, we have the First Look Fair, and you can reach out to us through that opportunity. But you can follow us on our Instagram. And over the summer, before the semester starts, we'll post the link for our application. And basically, you just apply to join our organization, you submit an application, and we have a couple of rounds of speed interviews, and then you do a tour presentation for us. And then once you are in the organization, once you graduate through training, then you're in our organization. So if you are interested in applying, I would highly recommend following us on Instagram. That is @MarylandImages, so you can see updates on when our application will go live for next semester.
And they are also actively posting every day during this time. So always excited to learn about some of our other tour guides that are still active and fully wanting to share about their experiences as being a student and a Terp. So thank you so much for sharing that. We do have a couple questions that I'm seeing about what is diversity like on campus as a student who is a minority. How do you get involved? What resources are there? Anything that you can all share about that. And I'm going to start with Alexis.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved on campus. I would say one really big way is for you to go into the Nimburu Cultural Center. That's a house to a lot of the different organizations. A lot of the different organizations will host meetings, they'll host events, get-togethers, all the different things will be right there in that hub. So that's a really big place for if you're looking to get involved in any type of organization that's catered to minorities. I would definitely say that that's one resource that you could go to. But I would definitely say being a minority Terp is awesome. I would say the community is really well knit together. I would say that we definitely all know each other, and it's really nice feeling like you have a comfortable home with people that are going through the same sort of educational experience with you. And that's just school-wide, but also for within my specific college, within the Smith School, there's also communities within there. So you can get even more close to your academic career and even to what you want to do beyond that. So another big organization that I'm a part of is the Women's Empowerment Institute, and that's an organization that's designed to advance minority women that are in the business professional world. So we not only hear from minority women in the professional world right now, but we get to hear about their daily lives and advice and tips for us. So I would definitely say it's a really great experience being a minority Terp.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else have anything to add? No, okay, great. So we'll move on to another question, but just to wrap up what Alexa said, we're definitely a very diverse campus. As you can even see on this panel here, we have a number of diverse students and definitely representing from all over, even all over the world, and definitely very welcoming. So thank you for sharing. Next question, we're getting a lot of questions about Greek life. So for those of you who are involved in Greek life, I know some of you are involved in social, but also professional Greek life. Can you share a little bit about your experience? And I'm gonna start with Amelia.
Yeah, so I'm a member of Social Greek Life on campus, and I actually joined quite late. I joined in my junior year, and I think that goes to show really like you can have your entire college experience without Greek life and it still be a really good time. You still find your group of friends and you still find connections and networking. It's truly something that if it's something that you wanted to join, you have the opportunity to, but you don't have to. I've really enjoyed it. I have found a community that I love a lot. I'm going to be living within my sorority house for my senior year, and I think that goes to show just how much I really do enjoy it. But again, it's something that you really make that personal decision, and there's not a stress of having to join that, which I thought was really unique, especially since we are a larger school, and at some other institutions, there's a bit more of that pressure to join.
And then Alexis, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I'm in a professional fraternity, so the other side of Greek life on campus. So I would definitely say it's pretty great being involved in DSP because it really gave me a nice community within the Smith School. I joined it my sophomore year, and so I was still kind of finding my footing within my major, within what I really want to do with my major once I graduate. So I decided to join Delta Sigma Pi, and it was a really great decision, honestly. It's a super diverse fraternity. Not only it diverse, but it's also just a really great opportunity for you to get connections to outside of UMD, to other chapters that are also in DSP on other campuses, but also looking outside post-graduation to the different alumni that are a part of the fraternity that are going through different professional careers, and they can come back and give us advice and tips for them that help them once they graduated. So.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. And then one last question, because we are reaching the end of our event here. We're getting a lot of questions about living on campus. How do you become an RA? What is it like? What should a incoming freshman expect when living on campus? And we are so fortunate to have Carlos, who's currently an RA or a resident assistant on campus. So can you share a little bit about how do you become an RA and what it's like for an incoming freshman? What should they expect?
Sure. So to become an RA, you can apply as early as your first semester, which I think is really great. I did that, and I've been an RA for 3 years now. Essentially, it's a 2 interview application process. After that, if you're accepted to become an RA, you'll be taking a RA class in the spring semester, which is the full spring semester. And then after that, as long as you pass the class, you'll move in 2 weeks before everybody else, which is actually really fun. You get to have the campus to yourself for a little bit and move in early and just beat all the traffic. You kind of train for 2 weeks. It's really nice. You prep your floor, you meet your staff. I've become personally really close to my staff. I've actually traveled with them, which is really cool. In terms of being a first-year student, it's really nice. RAs are really your #1 resource on campus, and we're really there to kind of help you out. Like I mentioned, we have 2 weeks of training just to learn everything and anything about our campus, to really make sure that if you have a question, we can really assist you and point you in the right direction. In terms of roommates and stuff, I've had both a random roommate and I actually picked my roommate, so I was happy to have that happen. I don't know how Maryland does it, but they're really good at kind of pairing you up with people that you're compatible with. I'm really close to both of my roommates still, and I've been living alone as an RA, because it's another thing you do get your own room as an RA for the past 2 years, but I'm still in touch with both my roommates from freshman year.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, that is all the time we have left for today. I just want to thank all of our panelists here today. Thank you so much for your insightful thoughts and sharing your current experience. I think that all of our attendees have really benefited from it. So thank you so much for being here today. And again, like Zuri had mentioned, if you want to continue to stay engaged and learn about our students and what they're involved in on campus, we do have the Maryland Images Campus Tour Guides has an Instagram. They're actively posting. So please follow them on Instagram at Maryland Images. And then for those who still had some questions that may not have been answered during this event, we do invite you to learn more about the University of Maryland and our Office of Undergraduate Admissions. Please visit our website at admissions.umd.edu, or feel free to email us at applymaryland@umd.edu. So spell out apply and then also Maryland fully at umd.edu. But thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.